Welcome back to the WAC Basketball Preview Day presented by Hercules Tires. I'm Rachel Vigil. Inside of the WAC Digital Network studios, we'll soon be joined by head coach for women's basketball at New Mexico State, Brooke Atkinson, along with guards Sophia and Inoussa and Dede Echols. Ladies, can you hear me? Coach, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. While we wait for the two ladies to join, I want to ask you about practice with all the COVID restrictions. How are you having to adjust?
With a smile, I guess. Just doing what we can do the best we can. We just kind of talked about as a group, like it sucks, yep, but we just have to control what we can control. And so, they've done a really good job of, making sure we're keeping in our separate pods and, going game speed and, again, just kind of they can control their effort and their energy.
How are practices looking different nowadays? Coach Jan said no 5-on-5s or 4-on-4.
Well, we found ways to kind of still be able to kind of go all together as a team, but we have a pod over here and a pod over there. And we just make sure that they don't cross, that they don't kind of, one team's on this side of the court and the other team's on this side. And so we just really, you have a group at the beginning of the week and you basically just stay in that group. So we're able to kind of go for our normal practice time. It just looks different.
You were picked fourth, by the coaches and media. What may surprise people about this team this season?
I mean, they picked us how we finished last year. We were tied for fourth. So, and again, it's not where you're picked, it's where you finish. And I think, I did an interview last week and I had to look on paper and we have, our second leading scorer all the way through our seventh leading scorer returning. And so, that was kind of relieving to me. So right now, we don't have a Gia Pack or we don't have a Brooke Solis, but we have a lot of depth.
You mentioned Gia Pack. How do you go about replacing somebody like her?
Not necessarily just with one person. It's got to be a team effort. Obviously Gia had a great career here. And last year Gia was hurt, so she missed about 8 games. So we had a lot of youth last year, but they got a lot of experience to play without her. And so we just kind of have to continue that.
Looks like Sophia and Dede joined us. Ladies, how are you?
We're doing good.
I'm happy to hear that. I want to ask you both about the team's chemistry this year with all the COVID implications. How do you feel that the team is adjusting to the new normal?
Go ahead. Okay. Well, it's been hard. We were allowed to practice full team, but now, the rules have changed. We just try to do our best, and I really feel like we have like a good chemistry, not only on court, but also off court. That helps a lot.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Sophia. This year's team chemistry is a little different, considering that we were able to do full practices, and last week we split up in groups. So we kind of getting more familiar with each other. That's on the court, but off the court, we're good.
The Aggies were picked fourth by the coaches and media. How does that chip on your shoulder motivate you going into this season?
That motivates us a lot. Just reflecting on last season, we had a tough season, but we're really ready to go this time, and we want to prove everybody wrong and come, win this year.
Dede, do you have anything to add to that?
No, just what Sophia said. We're ready. We're big ready.
Coach, now for you, you said you finished or tied for fourth last year, which is where they picked you again this year. What has to change to get to that number one spot?
I would just say, consistency. We have to just kind of set that standard and be consistent the entire time. And it's really hard to be consistent, especially this year, because you don't know from week to week. And so, I'm proud of our team because they've been very consistent. They've been very smart, throughout this whole process, throughout all the testing. And so they're doing everything that they can control. And so, understanding that every possession, every play, every game, it has to be with that same exact effort. And so, we can't afford to have a night where we just don't show up. We can't afford to have a play that we just don't play. And that's kind of been our biggest focus. Again, we have to be our best every single possession. You move to one possession to two possessions, and then it just gets easier after that.
With games going now Friday and Saturday in conference play, how do you adjust your coaching style and subbing women back and forth?
I think it just has to be, game to game. I mean, the best thing is that we have, a good strength coach and a good athletic trainer. And so that we're making sure that we're, for me to hear that, we do have a lot of depth. So, again, this is kind of something that, maybe some Division II coaches that play back to back, and that's normal, that they have to, they're used to that. For us, again, we just kind of have to see what it looks like. We'll play a few games in the non-conference, and then we just kind of have to, have a strategy. So obviously having depth is going to help. And then just making sure that we're taking care of our bodies. And then also how we kind of, prioritize our weeks too. Right now we practice Monday, Tuesday, we give them Wednesday, we go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, give them Sunday. And so, they go 2 days hard, a day off, 3 days hard, a day off. So that hasn't really changed from the past. But again, we don't have a young team. So we have a smart team. We have a team with experience, and with leadership. So they're just really going to have to kind of take that as well.
Dede, with this being your last season, well, with NCAA rules, I guess we'll see. But with that being said, what are you looking forward to most?
I'm looking forward to getting all the way and winning it. Last year, we kind of got robbed with COVID. And, just say if that was my last year, then it wouldn't have been a good ending. So this year, I'm just hoping that we could get to that final stage and get the ring as a team.
Well, I'm now going to toss it over to Michael Navarrete for media questions.
Hey, Rachel.
Go ahead, Coach.
Rachel, I had to tell you too that it's Sophia's birthday today. So we just needed to, let everybody know that it's also her birthday.
Well, Sophia, thank you for hanging with us on your birthday.
Well, no problem. Thank you.
Happy birthday from everybody in the WAC office.
Thank you.
All right, Michael, over to you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rachel. We'll get things started with Justin Martinez.
Hi, Sophia. Happy birthday, first of all. You had a great freshman season last year. What part of your game would you say you've improved on the most this offseason in order to help take your game to that next level?
Definitely my shooting, my three-point shooting. I've been working on that, and I can see improvement during practice. So I hope that I can bring that into the games.
Okay, we'll go over to Kyle McDonald.
This is Kyle McDonald with the WAC Digest. Brooke, I wanted to ask you, you talked about, you have a veteran group, you're not young and so forth. How has that helped with all the, craziness of 2020 that you've had to go through up to this point, with the leadership and with, like you said, doing the best that you can do with what you can do? How has that made your job a little bit easier?
Well, I think our group, they know what's expected. So instead of having, maybe 5 returners, we lost 3 from a year ago. So everybody knows when I say a drill, they know where they're supposed to be. When I say, run motion, they know what we're doing. And there's just a lot of peer teaching, peer coaching, some good leaders. So it's like, we've slowed it down a little bit in the teaching sense, but I haven't really had to do that because I have, I just throw, okay, hey, we're going to run this. And we maybe haven't ran it yet, but they already know. And so, we have a handful of kids that have been there, that have done that. And that just always helps because, it's just not us, 4 or 5 coaches. Now we've got 10 coaches. We've got 15 coaches.
Chris Thompson.
Yeah, this question is for the players, and then Coach, if you want to chime in. With the way that last season ended and the ups and downs of the last 7 months, how anxious are you to get on the court and get things going against somebody else?
Well, we're extremely excited for that stage of the season because, we've been practicing against each other. Well, not this past week, but in the past, we've been practicing against each other and just seeing a lot of each other. So just to put on all our hard work that we've been doing on another team would be extremely exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's been a long time that we've been waiting for this. I mean, the season was cut short. We all went home and wasn't able to practice for a long time. It's been hard to come back, but we're really excited to come back and, play and show everybody what we got this year.
I'll just kind of piggyback off of them. I think, we always talk about, like, you never know, when your last game is going to be. And that was last year, definitely. We talk about as a group playing your best basketball in March. And I do think that we were getting there last year. We were playing our best basketball in March. And so I think this team is just hungry coming off of our last game last year, and then just understanding that things aren't promised. And so the ability to just get back out there on the floor and to be able to play 5-on-5 with each other or against another opponent, I know that my kids are super excited.
Okay, back to Justin Martinez.
Hi, Coach. Maliyah Prince was named to the All-WAC preseason team. Just what can people expect out of her this season?
Aaliyah definitely has to be one of the most athletic kids that I've ever coached in the sense, but, just her confidence level. Obviously, this is year 4, year 5 necessarily for her here at New Mexico State, but year 4 for her. And just seeing her confidence, just seeing her leading. And, again, my biggest thing for her was just being consistent. She has the ability to score points and score them fast, but she's also just a great athlete defensively. So, her same effort every single night, whether that's, 15 and 5 or whatever that is, like just her continuing to be consistent throughout the entire year. She has all the tools to do that.
You go to Paul Coro.
Coach, there was some pretty wild disparities in the preseason poll voting, both on the coach's side and the media side. What do you think that says for this season?
I didn't even really get to see it, actually. We were in practice, and so, we got out about 10:50, so I didn't even get to see it, so I apologize. I just know that we were picked 4th. That's about it. I mean, if we talked about it as a group and if that's not motivation, I don't even know. It really doesn't matter. It matters how we handle ourselves, what we take care of, and that's really all we can control.
Does there seem to be some unknowns about the conference this year because of new teams, new coaches and such?
Yeah, obviously you can do a little bit of research, but, with Dixie and with Tarleton, obviously coming from 2 really good leagues. So, again, those are 2 additions, and then you have new coaches in the league. So, even more so, we have to handle what we can handle, and that's, making sure that we're just getting better every single day, and that's what our kids have been doing.
Okay, back to Chris Thompson.
Coach, you're talking about new coaches. Let's talk about coaches that have been for a while and your staff. How's that consistency been able to keep your staff in Las Cruces? How's that helped you develop your program?
I mean, just having, obviously the chemistry that we have with our staff and our kids. I mean, we're kind of one big dysfunctional family in a good way. And just understanding, that I know that we all have each other. So we don't have to go through the get to know process going into year 4. They know how I'm going to be. I know how they're going to be. And the kids are comfortable with them. And that's the biggest thing is we all have relationships, and we all have trust.
Okay, it looks like that's it. I don't see anybody else with any other questions. Actually, we're going to go to Justin Martinez. Sorry about that.
Hi, this one's for both players. Just how much does the graduation of Gia Pack force everyone else to step up more so by committee instead of just leaning on one star player?
I think
well, I think that she had a huge role in our team, and not only like on us, she impacted us, but she also impacted other teams and how they saw us. So with her stepping down, and we have several players, not only returners, but also newcomers that has stepped up and showed that they were here to play. And I think that we have to lean much more on each other. Like we have more like team team played. Like, yeah. And I mean, with Aaliyah being nominated for the All WAC team, we still have star players in our team. But I think this year it's more that everybody's gonna contribute to this team.
Yeah, I agree. It's like the Gia Pack's role that she played on the team, which was a big role. This year it's more divided amongst all of us. And everyone has the potential to go out and score X and Y, Z amount of points. And with us just having like Friday and Saturday games, we're going to need that balance of who's going to play this game, who's going to give us this much this game. And so for the next game, it's someone else, someone's different. And that's a good thing to have for this year, especially with how they have us playing for COVID.
Okay, Kyle McDonald, you have another question?
Yeah, sorry, I keep going back to this whole COVID-19 thing. I think the restrictions in New Mexico is going to be kind of a big headline. This is for the players, coach, whoever wants to chime in. How do you guys stay focused knowing that, well, I should say not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow or in a week or so, and instead of letting that frustration kind of take you out of focus?
Say that our coaches right now are doing a phenomenal job at keeping us interested, because I think it was last week, we almost got shut down, but we ended up figuring something out to get us in small groups to keep us on the court. And we also have team meetings, like position meetings per se, to just keep basketball on our mind, just keep us interested, keep us engaged in what we are expecting for this.
And I also think that the situation makes us more motivated. Like, we don't know if we're going to play, how long we're going to be able to play. So just keeping our minds focused on this first game, November 25th, is what keeps us motivated.
Okay. Go ahead, Brooke.
I just said agreed. Well said.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks, guys. Thank you for joining us, Coach Brooke Atkinson, Sophia, Inoussa, and Dede Echols.
Thank you.